We're reviewing Badfinger's Come and Get It with Rock of All Ages off the Magic Christian album, which you have on record. And it was also on the soundtrack, which you had both versions of. So,
yes.
For context, hit number 7 in the US, number 4 in the UK, so it was their first top 10 single. Thoughts hearing it in 2023?
In 2023, I think it's aged well. It's a Paul McCartney written basic power pop, piano based, but bass superb. And although I know that Badfinger didn't exactly love the song after they broke with it, because I saw them and they never played this. They were far from it, but it was a door opener. It made their name. I remember hearing it and thinking it sounded like the Beatles, but that was then. Now, 2023, it still sounds strong. Love the harmony singing, which when they did the tapes we now see of them performing live, you can see them doing that, actually, Tom and Pete, and just all around a worthy effort. I think Paul, as he did with others, was amazing and did them a huge favor. And
yeah,
your thoughts?
There's a reason it was a hit. They sound a lot more confident than I think the Ivies did performing this. It's a little slower. It's a little more structured. I like it a lot overall. I think it's definitely a hit song. I'm trying to think. So they added, but they did add the harmonies. What else did they add to the McCartney original? They added I think there's like some tambourine.
Well,
I'm not sure if that was.
Of course, I think very little. They added very little because everybody knows the story that's a fan of Paul or Badfinger, of how he was very structured with how he wanted them to perform it, which they did. I know one exception is the bass at the end when then member Ron Griffiths does the rising bass rather than just holding the note, and does a little that he added that, and Paul kept it in and okayed it. Thought it was a nice touch. Other than that, as far as I understood, it was a pretty strict adherence to Paul's
recreation,
directions. For them, it was a breakthrough because, of course, the history is that they were morphing into something else that would be Badfinger, and he gave them that chance. So I just think, in a way, it's a door opener when I think of the song. A door opener for the good and bad that was to come, but there was definitely a lot of good and their whole story to unfold. And this was the door opener. This song is what broke them. So. But how it sounds today is remarkably not dated. I mean, I don't know production-wise, but certainly it's written by a Beatle. I mean, it's written by Paul. It's solid. It ages well to me, but that's my ear. How I hear it.
And it fits their style as well, I think.
Yes.
What did you think about the B-side? Were you surprised that it was Rock of All Ages?
Rock of Ages, all ages, always was impressive. Whatever the story is that they wanted it in G and wanted Long Tall Sally and Paul. Some say Paul's on it, some say they're not. But beyond the history of it, hearing it today, how it sounded, was strong to me. The vocals, as strong as can be. I mean, I'm obviously a fan, but Tom Evans' vocal, superb. Guitar work, superb. The bass, so good. Love all of it. And I was always struck by the straight ahead, right to the wall, key of G, great rock song that they came up with there. And I'm still impressed. I thought it sounded good. And how did you feel about it?
It sounds like you said, it's like a real rocker, a classic rocker, but it also, there's something about it that feels a little more live and improv. It's like
yes.
I don't know how many takes they did and everything, and maybe Tom knew roughly where he was going to be, but there's some improv vocals, and the guitar, even the solo. We know Pete Ham was very structured and probably rehearsed it a million times note for note, but it sounds improv. It sounds more organic than Come and Get It.
And here's the question. I mean, I don't know if on the final record, but Paul ever on the track? Yes or no? I mean,
that's that rumor. I didn't hear him. I mean, I wasn't listening for it.
And I'd like to still know who's playing piano on that track when it comes in. Do you have any insight into that? Is that George Martin?
I don't know who it's credited to, but I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I
don't know. It's very strong.
Here it says Paul was playing tambourine on Come and Get It. I don't know
or
if that's
was it
true.
Paul McCartney playing piano on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's kind of standard 16th note stuff. So maybe anyone could have come in and done it if they liked the recording. So
yeah, it's you could do that, but they came up with that. They came up with that, which is there's not too many ways after Long Tall Sally to get into those lanes, and that kind of did it. And they did a tremendous effort here. I hear it after all these years, and it's still a good rock song, Rock of All Ages.
All right, so rate the single out of 10? Where would we put it?
Looking at it on its own, it's hard not to compare it with what they were coming from to what they were going to be, but that's not necessarily in play, I guess, if you're just listening to the music for itself and taking it as is. As far as a song, 7.
Okay. It's pretty good. Yeah, I'd agree. Maybe 6 to 7. I don't think this alone would have gotten us into the Badfinger deep end that pulled us in, but it's always fun to listen to, and it's a strong single. All right, well, let's get to the next one.